Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Terry Koss Show, a wrestling podcast. And we even have fireworks. I'm your host, Terry Koss, and today I'd like to take a look at NXT Takeover Toronto. NXT Takeover Toronto took place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is awesome because that's in Canada. Took place at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada on November the 19th. They had an attendance of 12,649. Our first match was Bobby Roode against Ty Dillinger. Bobby Roode comes out, well, even before he comes out, he has this choir singing a song like Glorious Domination, and then he comes out, and the people just go wild for him. Of course, it's a glorious entrance, see what I did there. Comes out, the story behind this match, Roode and Dillinger were in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Roode needed a partner, so he asked Ty Dillinger if he would. They went up against Sanity. From what I can gather, Dillinger went for a tag. Roode backed away and kind of left him on his own, so they started the feud between them. Really good match between these two. A really good opener to start Takeover. The speed of Dillinger, the strength of Roode, and it was just a good match all around. Bobby Roode ends up winning it with the DDT. My pick to win that match was Ty Dillinger, so right now for my picks, I'm 0-1. Our second match was the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We had the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering, Akam and Razor, up against TM61, Nick Miller, and Shane Thorne. Now, in the tournament, TM61 in the first round beat Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli. Austin Aries and Roderick Strong in the second round. Sanity in the third round to advance to the finals. The Authors of Pain beat the Bollywood Boys in the first round. No Way Jose and Rich Swann in the second round. And DIY in the third round to advance to the finals. Now, with all the matches that the Authors of Pain have been having, their manager Paul Ellering has been getting in the ring or helping them distract or helping them win. So it was decided that he would go up in a cage 13 feet above the ring, something we've seen before in the past, something I have not seen in quite a long time. I think I remember a few of those as kids where the manager was in the, what they call the crash cage, and they would, put him up there. So, this one was a really good match. TM61 really brought it to the Authors of Pain. On the outside, I believe it was Razor, had Thorne up on his shoulders and was trying to carry him up the structure. Thorne knocked him down and then just did an awesome dive onto the Authors of Pain. Really great strength shown by Nick Miller. He picked up both the Authors of Pain, gave one a power slam and one a inverted suplex, or one a suplex. They hit Thunder Valley on on one of the Authors of Pain, and they kicked out. I was amazed at how they were able to get such that big of a guy up and, hit him with Thunder Valley. The Authors of Pain did win when they hit Miller with the Book of Pain. That's a Russian leg sweep clothesline combination. And so the Authors of Pain win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and become the second winners of that tournament. Our third match, actually, for the second one, I picked TM61, so my picks are 0-2. The third match was for the NXT Tag Team titles. We had the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, up against DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Now, this was a 2 out of 3 falls match. My pick to win this match was Gargano and Ciampa. The first match between these two took place at NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2, and was just an amazing match. The Revival ended up winning that one. In this match, the Revival got the first fall. Johnny Gargano went for a slingshot spear. Dawson caught him, and they hit him with the Shatter Machine to make it 1-0 for the Revival. Gargano did a really cool kind of spinning DDT and kind of kicked off at Dawson to do that. The Revival hit Gargano with the Heart Attack, which was used by the Hart Foundation. They only get 2. The Revival are a really good tag team, as Tom Phillips said, or maybe it was Corey Graves. They remind him a lot of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Arn and Ole Anderson where they do really great tag team wrestling. They, cut off the ring. They really keep the other guy in their corner. Lots of frequent tags. And, the thing the Andersons would do, they would just take a body part and just, stick to hitting it and whatever and stuff. And the Revival did just that, working on both the legs of Johnny Gargano. Gargano gets tagged to Ciampa. Ciampa hits Dawson with a knee strike, only gets 2. The match is going on. Gargano and Ciampa hit Dawson with a combination super kick and a knee, and they get the second fall, which makes it 1-1. Dash and Dawson went for Gargano and Ciampa's move, the super kick knee strike, but Gargano and Ciampa got out of the way and Dash super kicked Dawson. Gargano and Ciampa hit Dawson with the Shatter Machine, but it only got 2. Gargano gets Dash into a submission, kind of like the version of the Rings of Saturn. Dawson goes to try and break it up, but Ciampa gets in, gets him with some kind of an arm submission. You see them just not wanting to tap out, and Dawson and Dash tap out. DIY, Gargano and Ciampa win and become the new NXT Tag Team Champions, winning it 2-1. This, to me, was the match of the night. It really brought me back to why I became a wrestling fan in the first place. Wanting to see the guys that you want to win, and if they're coming so close, and they're it's 1, 2, and they don't get the fall, and you're like, what's going on? And you just get really excited and really pumped about the whole thing, and it really did bring me back to what how I first fell in love with wrestling. Was I always cheered for the good guys, and always hoped the good guys would win. In the first match between Revival and DIY, Revival won. I wanted Gargano and Ciampa to win so bad, they didn't. This match, Gargano and Ciampa, DIY did win, and I was so happy. It just, to me, it was match of the night. You guys may have a different match of the night, and it was really a really good match. The fourth match was for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Asuka, the champion, who is undefeated at this point, debuted in October of last year, and beat Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship back in April at NXT TakeOver Dallas, up against the former 5-time WWE Women's Champion, Mickie James. Now, this was Mickie's first time in a WWE ring in 6 years. It's a good match. Of course, from a lot of striking from Asuka. Hits Mickie with the hip attack numerous times. Mickie hits her with the Mick kick. It's kind of a sort of a spinning kick. Asuka's able to get her foot on the rope. Mickie and Asuka are both playing mind games with each other in this match. Mickie tries to hold open the ropes. They're both on the outside of the ring. Mickie goes into the ring. She holds the ropes open for Asuka, the middle rope. Asuka goes underneath the first one, kind of okay. Asuka does the same thing. Holds the second rope open for Mickie, kind of a can you top this? And Mickie does the same thing, goes underneath the ring. Again, a really good match. Asuka had the Asuka lock on, and then she didn't have it, and then got it back on again, and Mickie had to tap out, and Asuka retains the NXT Women's Championship. I really don't know who can beat Asuka at this point. My pick to win the match was Mickie James, so I am 1 for 4 in my picks so far. Our last match was the main event, and was for the NXT Championship. Featured champion Shinsuke Nakamura up against Samoa Joe. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura beat Samoa Joe back at NXT Takeover 2 Brooklyn, something like that. It beat Samoa Joe, and Joe said to Regal, "I want Nakamura, or I want my title." So he starts beating up anybody that has a match in NXT. He just goes and just beats the tar out of them, and so Nakamura decides, okay, we're going to have a match. So a few weeks before the match happened, Nakamura and Joe get in a fight, and Joe hits a Uranagi, basically kind of a choke slam almost, on the on the steel steps. on Nakamura, and this, of course, just knocked Nakamura out. They took him away in an ambulance, and, for a few weeks, Joe thought, oh, I got this. And so Nakamura came back and accepted his challenge, and so we had the match. Joe comes out, as always. Nakamura comes out, has violin players all around him, as the violins are in his song. Again, a really cool entrance for Nakamura. Good hard striking from these two. Nakamura, the King of Strong style, with his kicks. Joe, with his clotheslines, his knees, his drop kicks. Joe really worked on the legs of Nakamura in the match, because Nakamura's finishing move is a Kinshasa, which is kind of a reverse kind of knee strike. And so, you take the legs out of Nakamura, you take out his biggest weapon. Nakamura hit Joe with a German suplex. That was interesting. Joe ended up hitting Nakamura with 3 different suplexes. One was a German, one was an exploder, and one was a, what did he call it? A straitjacket suplex. And Chimera, I believe he called it, with suplex. Joe only gets 2. Nakamura goes and hits Joe with a Kinshasa. Joe kicks out at 2, which is very surprising. At the end of the match, Nakamura hits Joe with a Kinshasa on the back of the head, and he's right on the rope, so he rolls out of the ring. Nakamura then goes outside of the ring, tries to hit Joe with a Kinshasa. Joe stops him, pushes the referee out of the way, hits him with a low blow. He then picks up Nakamura, gives him a Uranagi on the steel steps, just like he did the last time. Puts him in the ring and hits him with the Muscle Buster, gets the 3 count, and becomes the new NXT champion. Now, Samoa Joe is now the first person to become a 2-time NXT champion. So yeah, out of 5 matches, I was 1 for 5. I thought Nakamura was going to win. I thought this was an excellent takeover. All the matches were really good. Rude and Dillinger was really good at one point. Dillinger had Rude and the Sharpshooter, of course, an ode to Bret Hart, the Canadian fans. And it was cool in the first match, Rude and Dillinger both being from Ontario. Toronto is in Ontario, one of the provinces of Canada. And the fans just got behind Dillinger. They kept saying 10, 10, 10, 10. Because, Ty Dillinger is the perfect 10. And that went on pretty much all through the night. Anytime the ref went for a 10 count, the audience would go 10, 10, 10, 10. And it was just... It was really good. I really, really enjoyed this one. And if you do get a chance, check it out. I cannot recommend this enough. NXT Takeover Toronto. The match, to me, that stood out was the tag team match, the Revival versus DIY, 2 out of 3 falls. Well, that'll about do it for me tonight. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you had as much fun listening to me as I did talking to you. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Terry Koss Show Podcast. I'll put a link in the description below. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter at Cheeto Koss. That's CheetoKoss. That link will be in the description below as well. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on NXT TakeOver Toronto. Did you like it? Did you really not like it? What was your favorite match? What did you think of the whole NXT special so far? Or NXT special as a whole? And as always, if you hear a cool theme, feel free to send it my way. If you watch a cool match from any kind of promotion and you want me to see it, feel free to send a link my way. So for Terry Koss, I have been Terry Koss. See you next week.